Hello, everyone, and welcome into, well, the end of the project and presentation. Now, for those of those who didn't know which group I was working with for the service project community, it was the Hoosier Youth Philharmonic. Now, to briefly go over who and what they are a group of actually students at both of the high schools here in Bloomington, of where, well, kids are taught how to play string instruments, so violin, viola, cello, and bass. Those are the instruments that are taught, and they are able to go through the Hoosier Youth Philharmonic, or HYP, as most of us will say for short, because it's a mouthful otherwise. Is a part of the MCCSC Strings program, which is the program that teaches kids as early as 5th grade. The HYP in particular is the final stretch, basically, when you enter high school. Now, to just get things started, I'm going to go over some of the goals that I had put in the last presentation for the proper sessions. So, let's review them real fast. So, what I have listed here, I have to work with the chaperones of the trip, help with any event news, so announcements through social media, to work or help, depending on the moment, the kids of the program with the fundraisers, and then finally, what is probably arguably the most important thing on this list is finalizing the trip t-shirts. Now, I am going to go into depth into each of them, and I'll explain why each of these goals were important, what was covered, as well as just how things turned out and some of the difficulties that came with some of them. And I'll go into depth into the difficulties at later this presentation. Now, first things first, working with the chaperones. A couple weeks ago, I managed to get into contact with the chaperones that were going on the trip, and they had a request that they brought forward to Mr. Hanser and Miss E, the people who are in charge of the whole organization as a whole, about the trip t-shirt. I'll go into detail about it a bit more, but one of the decisions that was made a while ago was that the chaperones would get their own t-shirts for the trip so that they can be easily identified both by our group and other outside groups should in the event something occur on this trip. And the trip is going to be in Orlando, Florida, for two reasons. One, the the ISMA competition that's being held down there. And on top of that, for the second reason, and this is what a lot of the kids look forward to, they get to run around Universal this year. So they're going to have fun, and that's where the competition's being held. But the chaperones requested that I make them a separate shirt so we can easily identify them should anything occur, and that the students know who is with them, who's not. So, moving on. Now, this is in the event news on social media. I won't lie when I say this was definitely difficult. And just because this time of year, there isn't a ton of things going on. But with what little I was able to help by working with Mindy Bartlett over on the Facebook page, it is a page that anyone can follow to keep up with the current timeline in terms of what events are coming up and what is happening with the kids, as well as just everyday good moments are happening at the events. While there is an Instagram and Twitter one, I was unable to find them at this given time, not to mention that one of them is also student ran. So either way, I say check out the social medias to see the posts. but I was able to get things organized and posted online, and we were able to bring in a lot of people for the different fundraisers and events that were happening. Speaking of which, the fundraisers. Now, as you can see on there, I had to split this up into two separate parts. Now, the reason for this, I have more details about what had happened with one event. And I'll again go into those. Now, starting with the Snap Raiser, it is a organization that has reached out to HYP and many other groups of where they are giving a chance for the kids to raise enough money, and the kids were able to raise $30,000. I mean, that's a crap ton of money. But again, as you can see, the group had kept almost $8,000, resulting the orchestra only getting $22,000. There are some major complications that have been happening over there, and again, talk about that at a different time. Now, the next one was the Mother Bear Pizza fundraiser. Basically, kids handed out flyers, and this is where I was able to really help with the social media aspect of things, because the Snap Raiser thing had already been going on in the background, and the most I could do was spread the word there and help the kids fill the requirements that were needed for there. But for Mother Bear's Pizza, not sponsored for this video, YouTube, basically they asked that we put flyers out there, and the more customers they were able to bring in, the more they would get a percentage of some kind. And from that, the kids ended up getting 285. However, the manager there was so excited, he was kind enough to bump the number up to 320. So what would have been just $285, the kids got a little bit extra for their efforts. Turns out that when you bring in a lot of people into a business, especially one in a bit of a weird spot, the managers are going to be happy. Who knew? But that's just business, baby. Now, going on to the next one, the News and Company. This is, again, another restaurant. And I actually have the poster as to what they needed to hand into, well, at the counter when they were buying food. So, as you can see, 25% off. Hey, that's pretty good. And even though on the slide here it says unknown at this point in time, complications have come up, I did get a tiny update as to how much we were able to get. So, we were able to get, sorry, give me a second. We were able to get $156.97 from Noodles and Company. Now, the reason why that detail wasn't on the slide is because as of 2 minutes ago, when setting up for this presentation, we had just gotten that update. So, as you can tell, some things are still being counted up for and seeing how much the kids were able to raise and whatnot. So, and this is just roughly for these three fundraisers in particular. Now, for the second half of it. Now, before I click on to the next slide, I need to explain what it is. Night of Dance. It is one of the most important fundraisers of the entire school year. Not only is this the night of where both of the orchestras from both South High School and North High School, so two rival schools, get together and play their heart out, but it's also to recognize all the seniors they have for that year. And so, as a result, there's some major push for it. And it's meant to be a magical night. And it was definitely a magical indeed. Because, and this is roughly, and this is still being counted, Night of Dance roughly made $3,776.07. And as you can see the numbers on there, that is what they got from those things. So from pre-order tickets, $3,070 just from pre-tickets alone. Then we had people buy tickets walking into the event, as well as like some food and drinks at the concessions to make a little bit more money. So nothing new. Then the Night of Dance bouquet. So basically, these are the flowers that we give to our seniors, and as well as any extra a message that parents, family, friends wanted to have to come with it. And the expenses, well, it basically knocked down the bouquet since it only made $26. The pre-order tickets, door tickets, and the concessions made it more than enough for it, which is great. And this was actually a flyer. I know it's a bit cropped here, but this is the flyer that we had. And, well, it was super exciting. So, and I have a little video to show you from that night. As you can see here, some of the students were allowed to dance to the songs. And in this song, this is the Hokey Pokey. And the person that you can hear in the background is actually Jane Gowker, the founding person who created this whole organization before passing it off to Mr. Hansen. So she always comes on this night to, well, direct the Hokey Pokey because it is tradition. And tradition is what the HYP will stick to. So, cute little video that we were able to post on that was the wrong thing, post on Facebook. So that's also another reason why you should go to our Facebook, is, well, see what had happened. We were able to get a nice little clip of the kids having fun, the ones who wanted to dance, and, well, with friends, family. As you can see, some of those were parents. And that was only a quarter of the room. There were a lot of kids, and with the camera, we couldn't really get too many shots of it. But just show you a small clip that, and there it was. Now, the last point, the t-shirt designs. The picture you see right there, that is one of 4 designs. Now, this is the HYP logo shirt that was chosen by Mr. Hansen, Miss E, and as well as all the other school chairs within the organization. This was what I made. There are 3 more, and sadly at this time they are not ready with the exception of 1. However, Mr. Hansen has requested that no one is to see them until he does. So, as of right now, I cannot share any information on it. Besides, we want to keep it a surprise, and, well, we can't really afford any risk of any of the students finding this video on YouTube for whatever reason and discovering it. But this is the shirt that we'll be selling, and it has a logo of mine that I designed. Now, as you can see on the cost, that's what we're going to be selling them for. So, and this will happen especially at an upcoming event here in January the most important event overall. So, not fundraiser, overall. And it's the Spring Spectacular Concert, where all students a part of the strings program of all levels and ages. So, we got our 5th graders, 6th graders, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They all get together and they put on one giant concert to show how far they made it. It's an amazing night that is coming up. And at this event, we are actually going to be selling the t-shirts and sweatshirts. So who knows how much we're going to make there. And this is super, super important and vital, as it can make a huge difference. Now, difficulties and troubles. Well, the first main one was how often I was in town. For a lot of the things I had to do, I either had to do on my own or I had to call in virtually because, well, I was living in Vincennes when a lot of them were happening, but I was still able to do my part regardless. And when I was home on the weekend and not working, I was able to add a bit more work into it where I wanted to and needed to. So, the next thing, Snapper. As I mentioned before, they kept a small portion, and while this was an agreed upon amount, they have failed to keep up on a promise for the kids, one that they keep, well, while they are an excellent group that we can gain money with and be able to generate and that money needed for the outfits and the trip and everything, they're not holding up their end of the bargain. And at the last booster meeting, as well as the upcoming one, we've had and will have again a discussion about who we are going to replace them with. While they've been an excellent source of money making in terms of just helping us get our name out there and everything, which we are extremely thankful for, things have been happening in the background, and it's been decided by everyone on the booster seats of the company that we needed to switch them out. So we will have to see where that goes, as that trouble is still kind of going on. News regarding Noodles Company. Again, up to a couple of minutes ago, we didn't know how much money we had, and there's been some things happening in regards of local stuff with the company. They've been suffering a little bit from business. So, but up to a few minutes ago, we didn't know how much we had. T-shirt designs. As I mentioned beforehand on that slide, that's the only one that we have that is ready to go and ready to be seen by everyone. And the one that we're accepting as our logo of the organization. So, the other 3 are not quite ready yet, which makes me sad that they're not. But they'll almost be done here, hopefully by Christmas. And it's been made clear to me by Mr. Hansen to take my time on that, as he would rather have a design for a t-shirt, sweatshirt, or whatever come as late as Christmas than something crappy and it doesn't look good, the colors are mismatched, or anything that just doesn't seem right with it so early on. So, now a common one, and this is just kind of with any group, is contacting people. Everyone's busy. I mean, myself, all the parents who are in the booster seats, all of us are volunteers. We're doing it for one reason or another. For the parents, they have a kid or a couple kids in the program, and so they want to support and give as much help as they can. And contacting people between me being in school and people working and everything, it's a bit difficult. Especially with the last point of working with certain people. Everyone has their troubles. I won't lie. There might have been beef between me and one other person at one point. And that was bound to happen no matter what. And that is something that we're working out slowly, which I am thankful for. It's just been frustrating. But despite of everything, we've gotten some good news things, and like decisions have been made. I've been able to get into contact with people on certain days, get a chance to meet people, talk to them, get to know them, see where I can help and whatnot. So there's been positives, even if it seems like a lot of negatives. Working with other people. Again, difficult. And with the 3 pictures here, so the far left is actually a picture of some of the students. And these students in particular are students that are part of the set up and tear down crews of events. So they get there early before they have to get ready for the events themselves to set up chairs, stands, patio, all those things, even decorations. So between adults who are offering to help, this is just a picture of some of the kids that have given me the okay to show their face, though I will not name any of them here as they've requested that while they don't mind their face being shown, they would rather not be named. Next is the picture in the middle, and the only good picture I could find was Mr. Hansen. This is actually a picture from Night of Dance when he was conducting, and he's been wearing a mask because, a certain pandemic happened. But he, again, doesn't really care for photos, and the best photo I could find of him was of a basically awful side shot. But it's fine, it would not be the first time he's escaped a camera. Next is Mindy Bartlett. Now, she is part of the social media team, as well as one of the only photographers, which I was also able to do some photos myself with her. So, but there's so many other people on here that that have either asked me not to place their photos or names onto the slide, or that I had access to. But nonetheless, working with everyone, especially the kids and Mr. Hansen, has been super, super fun, even if they did make me want to scream ever so slightly. But that's nothing new. So, at the end of the day, we've accomplished so much. I mean, you saw how much money I was able to help the kids raise, how hard they worked on their own, even when I wasn't working with them directly or an adult was. And the HYP's goal to basically keep a music program no matter what, make schools care and keep it, as, well, music can help people, and it's a good thing. Just for this group, it's as an orchestra with violins, violas, cellos, and bass. So I plan on working with them a bit longer. As I mentioned before, the spectacular concert's coming up here in January, and they need all the help they can get there. So I'm going to be at the event supporting them by setting up, as well as helping tear down and making sure everything goes smoothly. And while I do feel bad that I was not able to get everything done, I got done what I did. Mr. Hansen's happy about it, and he said, as long as you keep working with us, we don't mind. And just have fun. It's okay. I was able to see the sides of the kids that I would normally not even see for any reason beyond my little brother. I'm able to see the old joys of being a part of the organization. So, while it's been stressful, I've had fun. And I am looking forward to continue working with them even beyond this project, this semester. And we will see where things go.